Oh, there we go. I think now we have everybody.
Oh, I think they do. Well, that's this one with my knees.
Oh, one after the issue.
That's fine.
All right.
Meeting's over at 6. I'll be.
Patrick, can you hear everybody?
No.
Can we hear Patrick? No, we have no audio.
They're on mute.
I can hear you all.
Oh, okay, great.
Okay, let me go a little bit.
Okay, we're in.
So, Alan, do you have everybody you need for your list?
Can you tell me again what gentleman in red vest name is?
That's Mike from the Valley News.
What's his Mike's last name, Mike?
It's Eldred.
Elbert?
Eldred.
Eldred.
Thank you very much, sir. Okay, I think I got everybody else.
Okay, great. Do we have 1, 2, 3? Yeah. Okay, wonderful. Thank you. I apologize for this. I know that we had some issues after the last meeting, and I think we need to refresh the meeting link in the agenda. So when the next meeting we'll have a fresh link that we won't have so many issues with. And I apologize for the confusion on that because I should have fixed that after the last meeting. I just lost track of that one. So that one's on.
Patrick, you got to call it to order and record
Okay.
it.
So we are now recording. It is now 4:23.
Not here.
5:23.
Sorry, 5:23 p.m. The meeting is called the meeting of the Dover Municipal Water Task Force is called to order. Again, as I noted in my comments before, apologies for the connection issues. We are here now, so let's just get started and jump into the agenda. Did anyone have any comments before we get into the substance of tonight's agenda? Okay. If not, the minutes for the November 13th meeting were posted. Did anyone have any comments or questions to the minutes?
That's what I was reading.
I'll make a motion. We approve the minutes as submitted.
May I have a second?
Sarah, second.
Sarah second. So Rich moves, Sarah second. Any opposition? Okay, we will deem the minutes passed then unanimously. Okay, tonight's substantive discussion is we invited Adam from Windham Regional to come and talk to us and help our group learn some more about some of the options for technical and financial support as we consider our water system. Adam has been aware and kind of tracking this for a while, I think, since the very beginning. So he's up to speed on what we're doing. So without further ado, Adam, I think I would like to turn it over to you and let you go from there. And if anyone has any questions, they can ask you directly if that's okay with you.
That's great. Yeah, thank you. So for a matter of clarification, Adam Grinold, Executive Director with the Brattleboro Development Credit Corporation. So our sister agency is the Windham Regional Commission. So they are often more closely aligned with the work that you're doing, and I'm sure supporting you in some fashion in this project. And I know in other projects, the Mount Snow Lake work and everything.
Yeah, I apologize. I put your wrong agency down there, Adam.
Yeah, no worries. No worries.
Yeah.
Chris Camp and I were in a meeting yesterday with the new statewide USDA representative. So, I think what I'm here to do today is not necessarily represent or present what Chris and his team can do. Instead, there's one particular source of funds that I've been chasing since this summer when this group first convened, and I was made aware of this new effort, maybe even last spring or late winter. And Chris and I attended a federal forum on funding that took place in Manchester, New Hampshire. And this was really just to bring direct the heads of a lot of these agencies and departments to the region to speak to a whole litany of different funding opportunities that were available. One of which was under the EPA funding and was a Vermont-based company or nonprofit received, I think, a $20 million grant. Now, in Vermont, that's a lot of money. However, they're worldwide. So they're just based here. They don't necessarily do much work here. And so a few iterations of being sort of passed through that system, I've identified now that this is being managed by the University of Connecticut, and am now in contact with the folks who oversee that program. I've submitted paperwork. And what this would allow us to do is to provide capacity for municipalities looking at water and wastewater projects in underserved rural regions. So that's you all, in case you didn't know, and most of our region. So that is, I have no real update or progress to announce or share. But I think importantly for tonight's conversation, in understanding what you're doing, kudos and compliments on the RFP, and it's clear in reviewing that RFP that you're aware of the Vermont DEC requirements and future funding opportunities. So it looks like that's been written to fall in line to be able to get additional funding if you decide to go forward through DEC. But I've shared with Randy and Patrick prior, again, apologies, I intended to be in person and got hung up, so couldn't get there. So I had these as handouts, but a few links to some other sources. In doing some preliminary research, I had also reached out to the Vermont League of Cities and Towns. Have you spoken with those folks? Do you have a point of contact there?
No, we don't, not yet.
Okay. So Bonnie, really recommend reaching out to Bonnie. This is a free service for municipalities in Vermont. And her name is in that link, and I can make a connection, or you folks can look her up, whichever is easiest, most efficient. In our region, Katie Buckley is from Guilford, and she worked here in the region for many years, knows us, knows the region very well. She is now working with the Vermont League of Cities and Towns. So, personal connection, reached out to her. She knows the area well. Bonnie works with her. And, Katie really encouraged me, you folks, to reach out to her and really just get an overview of the different funding opportunities and sources. She comes from having run an RPC, really knows this world intimately. I feel for anyone who tries to just Google, hey, get us some help for figuring out our water system. It is a morass of links and acronyms in, rabbit holes to nowhere. So she will really be very helpful. A few other things that I really wanted to share with you folks and have included in the link in that document I sent over is VLTC did a funding sources for infrastructure projects. It's a great document, but it's time bound. So there may be a lot of rabbit holes that aren't worth chasing. So I think you can shortcut that with Bonnie before you go too crazy with that document, but you'll be able to discern what sort of evergreen funding versus ARPA or other things just from the nature of that document. Depending where you go next, right? Like you've got the RFP, how do you start to plan to ladder the various funding sources? And I think that's probably this is a good moment to start to lay that out. And whether the RFP consultant or someone else can really help the town do that planning, I think it'll be essential because obviously this is going to be a costly endeavor. The Northern Border Regional Commission. So this is a region that used to be just the northern borders of Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, and New York. Vermont, thanks to Senator Leahy, was dropped to the entire state to be eligible. So Dover is an eligible location. I've included some links to past awards. So you'll see 2022 and 23 awards that were given out to municipalities trying to solve water and wastewater issues. So you are eligible. There's history of these kinds of applications. And an important piece to receiving NBRC funding is being a project listed on the rural priority project list. So if you've heard of our SEDS collection process, we ask people to complete SEDS projects as well as priority projects. The RDC collects those projects, ranks those projects, submits those projects to the state. If you're on the top 10 list and you apply for NBRC funding, you get more points, significantly more points than if you're not on that list. The next opportunity to submit to that list will be in May, and then again a year from now. So depending on your funding cycle and when you're trying to do that, this is a good way to stack some funding for capacity to be able to have management or planning capacity that could come through that program. Couple other ones that I thought that I stumbled on is the New England Environmental Finance Center. So I've included a fact sheet as well as their website. Some really interesting support systems, maybe not quite yet for you, but one or two steps down the path. I think this would be really helpful. USDA, good news for Dover is I guess in some aspect you're winning at losing. In that you are eligible to be receive USDA funding, and even the state of Vermont median household income indicator for Dover makes you allowable as a the term that they use, bear with me. Disadvantaged loan. So it is a loan, but they are really very favorable terms. They're not the DEC loans are not, they're grants until you build the facility or the system, and then they turn into loans. So until such time, you don't have to start to repay for that. So, Dover, I think, is often looked at as being this wealthy enclave, and fortunately, these programs are looking at the right data sources. Many of the folks who live in Dover, and it is eligible for these programs. And I've included those links. There's a little place so you can go see where you can test that to see for yourself, and it shows that it's eligible. I am just about to wrap this up. So lastly in this link is the Community Environmental Resource Program that I mentioned at the beginning, which is that source of funds that we've been chasing. So we have applied. We shared what Dover is trying to do. We're working with a few other communities to try to identify funding sources for them, and included them in this application as well. So if we receive these funds, it would be capacity that we would just pass through to Dover to hire a consultant. We are not experts in building water systems. We know nothing about that. What we know how to do is help navigate the state and federal systems. We have really great project management, but no specific knowledge of this. We really do recommend working closely with Windham Regional for more of the specifics on the type of water and wastewater projects that you all are doing.
Okay. So everyone, the links that Adam was referring to were in an email I sent while we were trying to get set up for the meeting here. So everyone should have that. If certainly if you have any questions about any of that stuff, I'm sure there's a lot of detail in there, and I'm sure Adam would be glad to answer any questions we have. So why don't I open that up? Adam, was that it in terms of what you wanted to cover?
Yeah, and again, apologies. This document I sent over was really my handouts that I was. So it's not very polished, but at least it was to get that over to everybody tonight.
Well, the good news is the links are easy for everyone to kind of drill down, so that helps. Does anyone have any questions for Adam about any of that? Randy?
Yeah, Adam, hey, thanks for putting this together and for helping us out. You've been a big help through this process to this point. And you may not know the answer to this, but some of these grants, I assume, are pretty competitive. So if you don't make it on the first round, is there opportunity to go back second and third time for these?
Generally, that's a very successful way of doing this is it gets into the timing issue and the laddering of the opportunities. The frustrating thing with many grant sources is they want you to be, like shovel ready. So you have to know which grant to apply for when, because some it's a waste of time because they want to see all of the community outreach, the full approval, ready to go to bond kind of thing before they fund it.
Mhm.
And then others are meant for sort of midstream. So generally we find success in a second or third application to programs. So not making it 1 year can reflect that you're not yet ready. It can reflect that you weren't competitive for some other reason. Hopefully, each of the grant opportunities has feedback as to your competitiveness, and then you can readjust the grant application to address those deficiencies.
Yeah, I think that's going to be important for us to remember because, um, sorry, lost my train of thought. Yeah, we're going to need to keep that in mind because we have sort of a two-pronged thing. One is to go after the grant money, and two is to try to sell this to the participants in the community, and that's kind of have to happen simultaneously.
Mhm.
And then we're gonna have to fund it.
And then we're going to have to fund it. Yeah. So a lot of balls in the air for sure.
Yeah, and I think keeping in mind that a lot of funders are going to want to, some of the funders are going to want to know that there's community support in advance of supporting it. Others understand that that is a process. And those are probably those lone ones that are grants until you build it. So they appreciate the fact that, sometimes this takes several years, a couple different attempts to communicate the value of the system to the voters before there's success.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's important that we keep that in mind through this process.
Are there
Hey,
any other?
Alan, Dan showed up too, if you want to add him. I don't know if you saw him come in.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks. Are there any other questions for Adam?
What's that lamp in the back corner? Does it really move? It looks like a bicycle chain.
It does. You can change an engine with it, or just use it to light up
The
the
lighter
room.
room.
Is that something you made or is that something you bought?
Yeah, no, it's a steampunk design,
There you go.
straight from Wayfair.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Cool.
There you go, babe.
Thank you.
So Adam, I do have a question. Is there anything that you would recommend as we consider, we're going to be the responses for the RFP are due in early January, and is worth considering those responses. Is there anything that you would recommend from your perspective based upon, kind of this topic, the funding, or anything that you think that this group should keep in mind as, we're thinking about, hey, who we select or what we ask them to do, or any other considerations you think are important for us?
Yeah, I was really encouraged at the RFP that it connects back to, and I'm going to stumble on the terminology, but a lot of the DEC terminology to ensure that the results are compliant with the ERP or something to that effect to be able to go back for funding.
Yeah.
So that's really, really important. I think knowing how the individual or the firm that does this, what is the relationship to past projects and funding stacks, because of the length of time that these things take. Often these consultants are pretty familiar with those, and probably not a go no go decision if they're not, but helpful.
Mm-hmm. Do you see it where it's typical that the engineering firms that get selected to work on these projects also get their hands into work helping with the funding application, or is there a separate type of firm that you need to engage with to do that?
Often, and I should clarify, I'm speaking generally about consultants and RFPs, not specific to water wastewater, but I suspect it's the same. It's a small cohort of folks who do this work and know that they need to help ready this for the next stage, and part of that is funding.
Okay. All right, can I open it up if anyone else has any more questions? Okay. Well, Adam, thank you very much. Very much appreciate you sharing that information with us. If anybody has any questions, I'm sure, Adam would be happy to answer them after the meeting.
Anytime.
They have your email, or I forwarded your email, so they know how to find you. So,
Absolutely.
very much appreciated. Thank you, Adam.
Yeah, and keep in touch in the next steps of this, and I'll continue to bird dog a few of these items, and as I learn more, I'll just forward them along, and look forward to your continued progress. And if is there more on this agenda? I was just trying to grab that.
We just have a very short discussion about schedule, and we're really kind of we're waiting for the responses for the proposals to come in. So I think, it's just a discussion of the schedule. So
Okay.
We're in a lull.
Yeah,
We're in a lull time.
you gotta say it louder so they can hear.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear that.
Well,
I'm muttering.
Sarah's
in a lull.
We're in a lull right at the moment.
Oh,
The
okay.
pre-holiday doldrums, we're like Congress. We don't want to do too much because we don't want to interfere with our holiday break.
Mr. Chair, if I could just ask a question specific to the weather and the amount of rain, and maybe Rich is sitting in the fire department. Are we in danger, or are things looking okay?
We're
I'm
not.
gonna be-
We always flood everybody else. Remember, it all flows downhill from here.
There you
I
go.
don't
Better to
think
be uphill
so.
than down.
Yeah, they sent out a warning for all of Vermont was in the flood zone,
Hmm.
but I don't think it
It hasn't been
doesn't.
raining hard. It's
So
raining.
supposed to get hard now.
and it's gonna melt the snow.
Yeah.
Getting really hard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's supposed to get hard. I don't think it's going to be bad. I think you'll make it home, Adam.
All right,
There you
great.
go.
Yeah.
All right.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you, Adam. Have a
Thank
nice
you.
night.
Thanks, Adam.
Thank you.
Happy
Yeah.
holidays if we don't see you.
Yeah.
All right, on to the next topic, which is a status update on the RFP. As everyone knows, we put out the RFP. I have not heard from Eric of any questions to forward to this group for consideration. But if we do get them, I will certainly forward them right away and let me know. They're due on the 10th of January. The responses are due on the 10th of January. Our next scheduled meeting date, assuming that no one wants to meet on Christmas Day, unless anyone really wants to make a case that we should, is the 8th of January. So a couple of days.
Really don't like their family.
Yeah. If anyone really
Yeah, I
doesn't
want to get out of the house.
yeah, you just want to get out and we can meet. Otherwise, January 8th would be our next scheduled meeting date. And it's a couple of days before the deadline. It might be a quick meeting, or we might have some questions we need to respond to. I think we want to keep it on the calendar for that reason, so that if
Easier
there
to
are
cancel.
yeah. If there are the meeting after that would be the 22nd of January. And we have a window for potential interviews on from the 21st through the 23rd, with the goal of selecting the consultant by February 7th. So I think we can keep those meeting dates right now, but it could be we end up having an extraordinary meeting for interviews with anyone if we think it's necessary, depending on the responses we get. So just getting that to everybody in terms of calendaring your month of January.
Do we know how many went out? Did we send them out, or did we
No.
just post it?
No, we posted. Did they send, do you know, Patrick, anybody get individually sent the RFP direct?
I sent it individually to John Ashley at D&K
Otter
and
Creek.
to Otter Creek. Yes, I sent
Okay.
it individually to both of those because
Oh, those two.
those are the two that I had spoken with. But then I know that Eric posted it on the standard. There's, I guess, a standard website where these things get posted, and it's posted on the town website. So if anyone, I don't think there's any issue with anyone sharing this with anyone else that they think it needs to be shared with.
Look, I don't know if we ran it as a legal ad or not. That has to be published. I better check on that.
Yeah.
I know somebody who would know.
Mike, do you know?
Well, shouldn't. Yeah. I wasn't thinking about like,
It has to be published, yeah.
Even if it's published on the town website or,
Yeah, because we're the paper of record.
right.
It should be anyway.
Should be.
Yeah.
If not, there'll be a fight.
I think Eric had mentioned it should be. So
Yes.
yeah. So
I don't know if that got done though.
okay.
I'll
Okay.
check it out.
Okay,
That I
yeah.
can do.
If you could, Randy, thank you. Did anyone else have any other matters or any other business for the group tonight? Okay. Well, then may I ask for a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Okay, so the same two that moved to convene have now moved to adjourn. It is 5:47.
No, we did the minutes.
Oh, yeah, we did do that. Yes. Oh, you're right. I'm
So-
sorry. Yeah, you
Yeah.
did the minutes. Motion to approve. the
Right, you
minutes.
just,
Thank
you get to call the meeting to order just because you're the chair.
Right.
Yeah, I got it. I got it. You did the
You don't
minutes.
need our.
You got more power.
I'm gonna save the minutes for you next time. It is 5:47 p.m. Eastern. The meeting stands adjourned. Does anyone else want to wish anyone Merry Christmas, or we're just done with each other until the new year?
Holiday.
happy holidays,
You
everybody.
can't wish anybody a Merry Christmas, you get in trouble.
Happy holidays,
Sure, you can do
whatever
that.
holiday you celebrate.
Happy
Right.
Festivus.
Happy Kwanzaa.
Being healthy.
Indeed.
You too, Alan. I hope you feel better.
Bye, Alan. Feel
Guys, I
better.
appreciate that. I'll be skiing in a couple weeks.
Excellent.
Okay.
I don't think so. I don't think there's gonna be any snow.
No, we're getting it.
No, Dan
We're getting the
knows.
water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got water.
You're gonna
coming
get
back.
cold weather too,
Yeah,
right?
we got cold weather.
Yeah.
You got
Cool.
it
Yeah.
coming. More coming.
Good to know.
I don't think so. I canceled it.
You're not a skier anyway, Richard.
I know, I hate snow.
Rich, do we just would you do we just want to give you like a Grinch thing to hang up in your office, or?
Please.
All right,
Thank you, everybody. Good
Thank
job,
you so
Patrick.
much. Have a nice evening and happy holidays to all.
Snow is just the stuff you have to get out of the driveway.
Yeah.
We owe Tim a big thank you.
We know this worked good. I like
This is great. Now that we can figure it out.
Yeah,
we
and
can
these
watch it.
chairs are even more comfortable with the selectmen sit in.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
How's this compared to the setup at the town office?
At the
Dover
town
town office, yeah. This,
it's better. It's better. Better viewing, but it's a very similar.
But it would be harder to have like the selectmen here because there's really no place to have a
oh
lot.
no, you couldn't do
You can't
that.
have a
You
board.
can't have a big public meeting here. It's too small.
No, but we've been talking about, because the other thing is we've been trying to do some training. Like, after the training thing, we usually get together and have some food. And we talked about starting to do some of the quizzes and stuff because some people still can't figure out how to go online and do
Yeah,
stuff.
I get it, but now you can have them here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
So this was the association did this.
You still have the training room upstairs, right?
Yeah.
But
Yes,
that's,
those chairs aren't comfortable.
oh no, that's not.
They're
that's
not
fortunate.
metal chairs. You've been upstairs.